Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Football Hypes, and in this video I'm going to be showing you mistakes that you want to avoid in Soccer Manager 2022. Avoiding these mistakes will improve you as a manager and will more or less give you an idea of what to do and what not to do. But before we get into the video, make sure you smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and do not forget to turn that notification bell on to never miss one of my videos. But let's get straight into the video. The first mistake you want to avoid is ignoring player interactions. This is definitely something you want to avoid. Not communicating with your players can really have an effect on their morale and their performances in a whole. You always want to interact and communicate with your players to see where they stand, and so that your players understand the decisions you're making and the reasons for those decisions. Although ignoring your players may save you a lot of hassle and time, but keep in mind communicating and staying up to date with your players is one of the easiest ways to increase a player's morale by responding appropriately. Moving on, the second mistake you want to avoid is signing a player without scouting them. This is a mistake I make quite often, and this is definitely something you want to avoid. You always want to scout a player before signing them, especially if the player is from another league or country. Scouting a player allows you to see their potential and if they're still developing, not developing, or if they've reached their peak. This can allow you to make a decision if you want to sign that player or not. And while checking the player's profile, you're able to see the player's preferred role, squad chemistry, and attributes. This will tell you if the player is good enough and if the player will fit into your system or not. Moving on, the third mistake you want to avoid is ignoring opposition lineups. Ignoring match previews can be costly because you won't have a clue what the opposition team looks like, the formation they're using, or the quality of players they have. And this can be a recipe for disaster. Before every match, you receive a match preview in your inbox. This tells you the formation the opposition will be using and their starting 11 for that match. And here you'll be able to see the quality of players the opposition has. This will allow you to adjust your game plan and your tactics appropriately to potentially give the opposition a good game. Moving on to the fourth mistake you want to avoid, and that is ignoring your assistant manager. Your assistant manager plays a key role on match days and can also have a big impact on your team's performance. Ignoring your assistant manager is something you want to avoid because he is the guy that is showing you and telling you things you can't see that is affecting the game. So listening to your assistant manager is important. If he says the opposition is weak on the left flank, adjust your tactics to focus attacking the opposition's weaker areas. Or if he tells you that you need to go defensive because the opposition has the upper hand, adjust your tactics to a defensive mentality. You get the idea. At the end of the day, listening to your assistant manager could be the difference between a 2-1 loss or a 2-1 win. Moving on, the fifth mistake you want to avoid is starting players in their unpreferred role. You obviously have a system in place and you've set the role for each player in their position, but starting a player that is in an unfamiliar role can have an effect on the player's performance and morale. For example, if you take a look at Forsberg here, I'm currently playing him in a wide forward role, but his preferred role is a winger. You want to avoid doing this because you won't get the best out of your players. You've got a system in place and you want to sign players that fit into your system that can play in the role you want them to play. This will allow your team to remain happy, and this will also allow your team to perform better on match days. Moving on, the sixth mistake you want to avoid is ignoring your objectives. Your objectives are like your guidelines to success at the club you're managing. It kind of gives you an idea of what the board expects from you. Ignoring your objectives can lower your board and fan confidence, which creates a greater chance of you getting sacked. So I recommend following and completing objectives to sustain board and fan confidence and to keep your job. Moving on, the seventh mistake you want to avoid is ignoring the coach report. Now, the coach report kind of gives you an idea of where the problems are. You can access your coach report by clicking on your squad, then go to reports, and here you'll see the coach report. The report tells you the positives of the club and obviously the issues that need to be addressed. The issues I'm currently facing is older players in my reserve team, too many goalkeepers, too many fullbacks, too many defenders, too many midfielders, and too many attacking players. So now I have an idea of the problems that need to be addressed. Ignoring the coach report and not addressing the issues can create a long-term decline and problems for the club. Moving on, the eighth mistake you want to avoid is spending all your money in the transfer window. Spending all your money doesn't only create debt but a bad impression on the board. The board want money, they want profit, and usually they want you to maintain a certain percentage of profit for the season. You could be in a situation where the January transfer window just opened and you need to sign a player urgently in a position you're short in, but you've spent all your money. I recommend spending a little bit of your transfer budget, not all of it, because you may need the money in the future for whatever reason. Moving on, the ninth mistake you want to avoid is not loaning out players in your reserve team. If you've got a reserve team full of players, loan them out if you're not going to use them. or sell them. By just letting them rot in the reserves will cause the players' morale and confidence to drop, which just creates more problems for you as a manager. If you've got players in your reserve team that you feel have a future at the club, loan them out, and this will allow them to get game time at other clubs, and this will also allow them to develop naturally. And then obviously you can promote them to the first team when you feel they're ready or when they're good enough. Moving on to the 10th and last mistake you want to avoid, and that is no squad rotation. Starting the same 11 players week in, week out is the worst possible thing you can do. Your players will become extremely exhausted, and you'll find a lot of your players will get injured because they're not resting. I recommend rotating your squad. Start your reserve players for domestic and continental competitions, just to give your main starting 11 a break. So what you could do is keep track of your schedule to see when your match days are. This will allow you to prepare and rotate your squad for the upcoming matches. And those are 10 mistakes you want to avoid in Soccer Manager 2022. I hope this helped, and I hope you guys learned something new. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys would like to see more videos like this. But smash a like on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and do not forget to turn that notification bell on to never miss one of my videos. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.